Is that on it? Y'all, it's a bug. Oh, God. Bugs stress me out. All right. Is it 8 o'clock? Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Sorry for starting an hour late. I was on the phone with a client, and it just is what it is. So, last week, if you didn't catch the live last week, it was about how to travel to Europe for under $1,000 a person. And now I'm back this week to talk to you about, this bug is bothering me, y'all. Sorry. I'm back to talk to y'all about how to create a budget to while you're on the trip, spending money on the trip. So, y'all, I'm about to kill this bug. Hold on. Okay, I can live now. So I'm about to speak to y'all about how to create a budget for while you're spending while you're on your trip. So I get that question often, and the strategy that I have around it is not really complex, and it's not really detailed. So my goal when I go out of town anywhere, or I say my budget or a limit, is to spend $500 while I'm out of town. So most of the things, for instance, I'll use the reference that I used last week when we traveled to, let's say, Spain for, that was under $1,000 a person. And what happens is the euro is kind of a bad currency to use because sometimes the euro is better than the dollar. Sometimes the dollar is better than the euro. Like, they're so close to each other in currency, just rates and different, that it really doesn't benefit you to use the euro or the dollar or whatever. That they are like a really strong, in comparison to the dollar, the euro is really strong. And if you are not familiar with what the euro is, it is the currency that is accepted in Europe. The majority of European countries, their currency is the euro. So, like, we have the dollar, they have the euro. When you go and travel internationally, it is always best to exchange your money at a bank. Never exchange your money at the airport. The rates are high and you don't get as much bang for your buck. So if you're traveling internationally, it is best to exchange your dollar to whatever currency at a bank. So that is the first one. Goal is $500 because usually when we travel internationally, we get packaged. So usually breakfast is free during our stay. So we don't have to worry about breakfast. So that leaves lunch and dinner. So if we eat a large breakfast, for me personally, I'm not hungry usually at lunchtime when we are traveling internationally. So we'll go to dinner and then we'll eat there. So I don't buy souvenirs for people. Usually I just buy a souvenir for my mom if she's not traveling with me. And the reason why I don't buy souvenirs is because that's money that I could have had in my pocket and y'all should have went on the trip. So I'm not a big person on buying souvenirs for people. I will get my mom something, but other than that, I am not buying everybody and their mamas a gift from my trip. Y'all should have went on the trip. How else do I keep that under $500? So excursions. So if you are going to the Caribbean, you might want to get on a boat. You might want to go snorkeling, get on a horse or whatever. Those things are usually under $189 a person. And if you're staying at an all-inclusive, you don't have to spend money because food is there. Food and alcohol is there. So your money can be spent on excursions. The reason why I put $500 as like what I'm going to spend is it's just a easy round number for me. And I have been able to accomplish that on the majority of my trips, both internationally and domestically. So for instance, we went to Dubai. So their currency is not as strong as our dollar. So we took $700 over to Dubai, and we was rich in Dubai. That gave us like $1,500 dirham. So we had $1,500. We had 1,500 dirham. I won't say we had $1,500. So we took $700 and converted it to like 1,500 dirham. Their currency rates are worse than ours. So that's how we're able to spend more money once we convert it. What else? Let me see. We went to Canada. In Toronto, we also didn't spend any more than $500. That was for 2 people. It really just depends on what you want to do. And a lot of that planning can be done beforehand. So when I go out of town with my husband, he is really big on finding us somewhere that is exclusive to eat. So we will kind of plan where we're going to eat. So we'll budget for that. Me, I am like, want to be immersed in the culture. So I'm a tourist, a sense. So I like to see attractions. I like to see landmarks. I like to see stuff like that. So the majority of the things that I want to do are low cost. Now, if there is an experience that you want to have, budget for that. So $500 may work for you. $500 may not work for you. A good thing to do is to go back in your past of where you have vacationed or traveled and see how much money you have spent, and then try to spend that amount of money again. Now, if you thought that amount of money was too high, don't keep doing that. Lower the number and then set a budget that way. I don't have a recommendation because each city is different. Each country is different. It's just different circumstances, but my goal is to spend at least $500. I'm trying to see where I've spent $500 domestically. Nashville. Went to Nashville, was able to keep that $500. That included shopping, eating out, and attractions. So it really just depends on what you do there. Do I have any questions around spending money while traveling? Because it would be helpful if I could answer some questions. I know y'all like to listen to me, but y'all feedback is very important to me because this keeps this engaging. This keeps this interactive. And it really helps me know what you guys are thinking or what has worked for you or not worked for you when you have traveled. I could go on and on and on, but this really isn't for me. It's for you guys because I want to know how I can help you with your travels, with your budgets, with all of that. So last week, if you didn't catch the live, it's available on the YouTube. The links are attached within the group, and we discussed how to travel to Europe for under $1,000 because I've done that multiple times. I've traveled to Spain, I've traveled to Italy, and I've also traveled to Ireland, each under $1,000. When I got there, spent $500 while I was there. If I ever needed to spend more than $500, I have a credit card that does not have any foreign transaction fees, and it also doesn't have any conversion fees. So it will pay for my transaction in euros if that's where I am, or it will pay for my transaction in dirham if that's where I am. So the card that I use to travel with, and I take this card with me everywhere I go because I love the card. It's the Priceline Rewards card. So Priceline.com has a credit card. And I love it. And what I love about it is that you accumulate points that you can either use to pay your balance or to buy plane tickets and hotels and stuff like that. And you don't have to book through Priceline.com to use it, nor do you have to book through Priceline.com to take advantage of the points. How many days do you usually travel? 7 days. So if I'm doing an international trip, I do not go internationally for less than 7 days. Domestically, that depends. 4 days, a weekend. I don't think I've ever stayed somewhere domestically for more than 7 days. It's pointless. So it's usually 3 to 4 days for a domestic trip and 7 days for an international trip. Obviously, if you're going somewhere for a longer period of time, $500 is just not going to work for you. So that depends. But this is all about budgeting for a trip. So people think that once they have paid for the trip, that their costs are over. And it's like, no, if you get a rental car, you got to put gas in that rental car. You got to eat. And if you are out of town, you may like to eat 2 or 3 times a day, maybe 4. I don't know. I don't know how people eat. I usually eat a breakfast, and then we've done an activity. We do that so long it's about time for dinner. I'm not a super early riser, so it's not like I'm getting up at 6 and I need to eat breakfast, and then because I've been up so long, I need to eat lunch again, and then I need to eat dinner. I typically get up at the same time I do any other day, 9 o'clock, we out the door, 10, 11, whatever, having our little excursion, boom, it's dinner time. Are there any questions? And $500, how I said I got to that, $500 was just like a super easy number for me. It was even. I like the number 5, and that's how I determine it. So I always try to spend no more than $500 whenever I go somewhere. And then if I do need to bust out the credit card, I use my Priceline.com credit card. Like I said, it doesn't have any foreign transaction fees on it. It also allows you to use your points to pay your balance off, or you can apply those points to an airline or a hotel stay. Also, you can book things ahead of time when you are traveling. So if you know where you're going, you know what you want to do, TripAdvisor is a really good site for you to book excursions ahead of time. So they'll give you the price, they'll give you the booking agency, and you can book. So when I went to Denver for my birthday this past year, I wanted to take a tour of the, is it the Smoky Mountains? It's the Smoky Mountains, I believe. I think it's called the Smoky Mountains. Anyway, I wanted to take a tour of the Smoky Mountains, and I got on TripAdvisor, did a search for daytime tours to the Great Smoky Mountains, and was able to find a tour that took you in a motor, coach or whatever, gave you lunch, told you about the scenery and all that good stuff. Paid for that ahead of time. They always offer, usually the ones that I pick always offer a 24-hour cancellation, so you can cancel 24 hours for a full refund, and things like that. So those are costs that I put ahead of time that I didn't have to worry about when I got there. So like I said, lunch was included. I didn't have to worry about lunch that day. Just had to eat breakfast and dinner. Are there any other questions? If they're not, how long have we been on here? I try to keep these to 15 to 20 minutes. We are at 15:50. Are there any questions? Comments, concerns? Is $500 too much for people? Is anybody trying to go out of town and spend less? Has anybody spent more than $500? No? All right. Well, if you are new, the rules to the game is, if you're watching this on Facebook, the video will be up for 24 to 48 hours. Then I'm going to take it off of Facebook and I'm going to load it to my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube, which is Emerald Sparks. You'll see my beautiful face. And you can subscribe. So here in Facebook, you can ask all the questions. If you're catching this on the replay, you can ask all the questions that you want to ask. Once it is uploaded to YouTube, I will not be checking for those questions. So if you need to catch this again on the replay, ask your questions here. This will be up for the next 24 to 48 hours. Then I'm going to take it down and load it to my YouTube. I will post a link within here, but you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is my name, Emerald Sparks. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to end this, and we will be live again next week at 7. Now, I'm serious about that 7 o'clock. It's going to be a struggle for me because time seems to always get away from me when I need to do something on social media. But we are going to live. We're going live next week at 7. And it may not be a travel topic. It may be something else. If there is a topic that you want to talk about, I have topics all the way until the end of the year. However, if there is a topic that you want to talk about, there is a thread within the announcement section of this group where you can put what you want to talk about, and I will give you my expert advice about it. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Catch me next week at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Peace.